Looking to buy or sell your property in the central Kansas region? Look no further than Jeff Butler, the trusted real estate agent at Cornerstone Premium Real Estate LLC. With years of experience and extensive knowledge of the local real estate market, Jeff is committed to helping you make the most of your investment. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home, sell your current property, or invest in commercial real estate, Jeff has the expertise and the resources to guide you through the process. At Cornerstone Premier Real Estate LLC, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional customer service and personalized attention to each one of our clients. Our team is dedicated to help you achieve your real estate goals, no matter how big or small. So why wait? Contact Jeff Butler today to schedule a consultation and learn more about how we can help you with your real estate needs. Give Jeff a call, 620-755-9720, or you can email Jeff at jeff@cornerstoneks.com. You can also visit cornerstoneks.net to get started.
This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards, and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Kansas Missing Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Tebrugge, and joining me from Arizona is Derek Releford. How's it going, Derek?
Doing okay, man. Been sick for about 6 days now, but I only kind of feel like I have to throw up, so I'll take it, man. Over actually puking, I'll take it. So, yeah, it's been rough, man. I went to the urgent care. They said it was not COVID. It was not flu. They just said I was basically sick with, I'm thinking it's like some kind of virus, but definitely not fun for sure.
Well,
we got
Chris, how you doing?
Here. And then we got Kelly. She's looking forward to Easter.
Cool. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? How's Sapphire doing?
And Zilta. Hey, y'all. Ellen's here from Leavenworth. We got Rodney Cox.
Hey, Rodney.
Crystal C is here. Love it.
Hey, Crystal.
Let's share the show. Let's get some people in here. Derek, you and your son stay sick. Yeah, we do. And I was telling my boss, like, so all of my bosses are all 25, I'm 40. And they're all just like, how do you get sick all the time? I'm like, I have kids in school. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, you guys go to work and go home and play Xbox. My kids go hang out in a germ factory 8 hours a day. I mean, honestly, I got sick at it's a pizza arcade for kids. And I kind of knew walking into it, I was going to get sick. Like there's just hundreds of kids running around, all touching the same arcade games, and germs are real, so yeah, this has been a pretty rough thing. She said it's Roxanne over there, Zilta over on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Scarlett and I are doing okay. Chilling in bed, watching y'all. Awesome.
I'm sporting a new shirt tonight that I had made up.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Yep. I thought I needed a new one, so had one made up.
Yeah, you have a couple of those that you've printed, right? Like in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, I'll talk about you. I was going to say, I wonder if we could put a whole flyer on a shirt.
Yeah. I had somebody do that with one of my flyers for Unique Harris is Missing in Washington, D.C. Her mom had a shirt made up special for me with the flyer I made for her on it.
Does it look pretty good?
Yeah, looks pretty cool.
That might be a nice thing to do. Like, print up like a couple shirts with like, just as an example, like Alexander Perez's picture, his flyer on it, and just hand them out to people in Ulysses. And, because that looks cool. Your shirt looks great. Crystal shared it on social medias. Rodney says, nice. I would love to wear one. And we do recommend everybody, you can make your own KMU shirt,
This one was actually pretty pricey. I had it made through Oh, what the heck is the name of that place I had it made through?
Is
But
it like a
ended up costing me
website
a
where you
little over.
order?
That cost me a little over $30.
Yeah, that's pretty
Seriously.
standard for. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good shirt, man. I like it, and it's
I like it.
it's definitely going to get people asking you questions when you wear it in public, and I'm like, what is that about? You know.
Yeah.
I wish I could get one of Megan Fogelsong. But yeah, I'm going to talk to Ricky about that. We'll see if we can maybe figure out a way to get some shirts with flyers on it. That'd be really cool. I'd totally wear a shirt with flyers on it.
Right.
Let's go ahead and get into some cases. Tonight's featured case and the title of our episode, Missing in Kansas City, Verlon Timms Jr. Tell me a little bit about this case over in Kansas City.
Okay. Well, Verlon Timms is missing from Kansas City, Kansas since March 23rd, 2023. He is 29. He's 6 foot tall, weighs 150 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen on local business surveillance camera at 8 a.m. on Thursday, March 23rd, in the area of 13th and Central Avenue, Kansas City. And he's 29. He's 6 foot tall, weighs 150 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Verlon's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-573-6042 or 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can help get Verlon located and back to his family. And I don't know why my voice is going froggy tonight, but it is.
Maybe you're getting sick, man.
I
There's a
don't know.
lot going around, man.
It could be. Me and my daughter had to take a trip over to Manhattan today because she had an appointment over there, and we were over there better part of the day. And,
How far is Manhattan from you?
an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So spent the day, we did her appointment, got done with that, probably 1:32-ish, and then we just kind of went shopping around for a little bit. Then we came home.
You could just be exhausted, man. That's
Yeah,
a
it
long
could be.
day.
I'm pretty tired.
Well, it looks like it's been so March 23rd. We're looking at like a couple weeks since he's been missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like we have some family in the chat. She says, yes, please help locate him. That is my nephew.
Right.
Yeah, Veronica, if you want to reach out to the KMU page and if you have any additional information, like share with us so we can expand this flyer. We typically just kind of just go off of what the authorities know, which sometimes isn't a whole lot, but yeah, if you want to reach out to the page, Ricky'd love to talk to you, and we definitely want to help you find Verlon. It's been it's been a little too long, and we need to get him home.
I believe it was actually a sister that contacted me initially.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that lives in Baltimore.
Rodney says he used to live at 13th and Central. She says Scarlett is sick with a runny nose, so I think, yep.
Yeah, it could be.
Going around. Trisha Arnold, the YouTube ambassador in the house.
I know coming back from Manhattan on the interstate, there was a lot of field burning going on and a lot of smoky haze around the area when we were driving through. So I don't know. Had the windows up, but I could still smell it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about Alejandro.
Okay, Alejandro Matias Tran. He's missing from Wichita, Kansas since March 20th, 2023. He is 17. He's 5'2", 140 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. He did not return home after school on March 20th. And he's 17 years old. He's 5'2", weighs 140 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Alejandro's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9452 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Alejandro located and back to where he needs to be. Of course, this weather change over here is not helping either. It's been, getting warmer, and then the last 2 days we were under a freeze warning. So at night the temperatures bottomed out 2 nights in a row. So now it's starting to warm back up again.
Yeah. So. I was wondering, can you do you know what NamUs stands for and sort of anything about that organization? Because I know we name dropped them often.
It's the National Missing Persons Database is what that is. I'm trying to think of what the acronym stands for. I can tell you in a minute here.
I think I got it. Says National Missing and Unidentified Person System.
Okay.
NamUs. Yeah, and then there's also the NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like NamUs has been around since 2007, and it's actually from the Department of Justice. So
Yeah.
that's some big stuff. That is big stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Do you get a lot of your info from NamUs?
Sometimes I do, yeah. There's been cases I've gotten information from there and from Charlie Project, which is another missing persons database that's ran by a gal named Megan, and she's just a one-man operation, and she runs this whole nationwide database of missing people.
That is crazy. That is awesome. I'd love to
She's
talk to her.
awesome.
So obviously we would never say anything bad about it because it's amazing that it exists. But where do you feel like because like in this world, in the missing persons world, there's a lot of things that we could obviously do better, and it's easy to point them out. But in your opinion, what do you think are some things that could be updated with these programs to help find more people?
Well, the big thing, not only with NamUs, but with KBI here in Kansas, is a severe lack of photos on some of these cases. I think it needs to be mandatory that a photo's got to be entered with the information. I mean, yeah, you can sit there and say, oh, they're 5'8", 195 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Okay, there's about how much of the population did you just describe?
Yeah,
you know.
tough.
So to me, that's the biggest thing, is just making sure there's photos in there.
Yeah. And again, we're stoked that it exists at all. But yeah, I think I've heard people mention that there's a lot of cases out there that don't have photos.
Yeah,
Chris is saying hi to Trisha. Trisha says you sound terrible, Ricky.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's just started coming on within the last couple hours or so. It was fine all day, and then as we got into evening, it started. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, hopefully we can get through the show. Talk about Breanne Lee Miller. We've covered her several times.
Yeah, we have, and I've been talking to her mom here recently, and she sent me some additional pictures, and I got to figure out how to work them in on the flyer. But Breanne Miller's missing from St. Louis, Missouri since July 26th of 2020. She was 21 when she was missing. She's now 24. 5'4", 135 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. Last time she was seen was in South St. Louis on Dolores Street. Again, she was 21 when she went missing. She's now 24, 5'4", weighs 135 pounds, has brown hair that was semi-short on top, shaved on the sides, and hazel eyes. Her tongue and ears are pierced. Breanne has a tribal heart tattoo on her right bicep that says love, tattoo of the name Rob on the right side of her neck, a tattoo of a heart on the left side of her chest pictured below, and a tattoo of two hearts on her upper left thigh, which I've got all of those tattoo photos there. She was last known to be wearing a pink short sleeve top and white jeans. If you have any information regarding Breanne's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the St. Louis, Missouri Metropolitan Police Department at 314-231-1212 or their Crime Stoppers hotline 866-371-8477. See if we can't get Breanne located and back home. I know her mom's wanting to get her found back home, as soon as they can get her back home.
And we were talking about Dietrich Foster's case, and he's in a town that has roughly 10,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
But Breanne is a staunch reminder that sometimes it is a needle in the haystack. I mean, from 2020, there were 300,000 residents in St. Louis, Missouri.
Holy crap.
You just gotta. I mean, there's out of 300,000 residents, there's probably 150 cops. I don't know the math, but it's like each cop is responsible for how many people and solving crimes and stuff, and that's a lot of people. So you really gotta, that's a big difference. Missing in a small town and missing in a big city like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Trisha jumped over to Facebook.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We are doing good, Chris. We are doing good.
Okay, except for a little bit sounding like Froggy the Little Rascals.
Hopefully we can all feel better soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can hear something about Breanne. That's pretty rough. We do have a double feature here. We're going to cover a flyer and there's some additional information. Let's go ahead and talk about Tanya.
Okay. Yep. Tanya Knight. She was reported missing on December 8th, 1996. She was last seen leaving a party during the evening hours in Spring Hill, Kansas on December 7th. 1996, she intended to walk to a friend's house, but she never made it. On June 7th, 1997, Tanya's skeletonized remains were found in a farmer's field in the 21,000 block of U.S. Highway 169 in Spring Hill, Kansas. The Johnson County coroner ruled the case as a homicide following the autopsy. If you want to pop that extra information up there, we'll cover that before I get into the phone numbers there. Basically, Tanya talked to her dad about going to a sleepover, which he agreed to let her go and gave her time to be home. Tanya was led to believe there was going to be a party that night, and it's believed that this party was a lie and never happened. No witnesses have ever came forward to say that they remember that night or confirmed that there was a party that night. 2 individuals identified by investigators known only by the names Mastermind, which is a girlfriend of Tanya's, and Heavy, a boy that had a crush on Tanya, are believed to be the ones who led Tanya to believe there was a party that night. Tanya gravitated to the Mastermind because she was the bad girl type, and Tanya wanted the edge. Boys started gravitating to Tanya, including one that the Mastermind liked. This led to problems between the 2 girls. It's believed that these problems resulted in Tanya's murder. Mastermind dropped Tanya off at a boy's house that night. The boy didn't know why Tanya was there. The boy's mom offered to give Tanya a ride home, but Tanya declined and left for home on foot about midnight. Along the route from the boy's house to Tanya's house was a cemetery. It's believed that Tanya stopped by the cemetery, where she was lured to the rear of the cemetery and killed, and then her body was thrown over a chain link fence into a field, where it was discovered by a farmer plowing his field on June 7, 1997. At the beginning of the investigation, Mastermind and Heavy were both interviewed by police and gave an appearance that they were concerned. Mastermind was given a polygraph test, which showed signs of heavy deception. The Mastermind at one point treated it as if it were a kind of fun. Neither have been called persons of interest or suspects at this point. So if we go back to the original flyer, if anybody has any information regarding Tanya's death, please call the Johnson County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 913-715-5566 or 913-715-5560, or the CHIPS hotline at 816-474-8477, or McDonald's Investigation 913-541-0237, or the KBI, which is 1-800-572-7463, and see if we can't get some justice for Tanya and her family. I know they're really wanting to get the person responsible held accountable for what they've done to Tanya, so let's see if we can help make that happen.
Are you in contact with any of her family?
Her mom, I've talked to her mom, and I think it was her brother, I believe, as well. I did talk to her mom recently, though, because she was wanting to make sure we're still keeping her out there, which is what we're doing.
Yeah. It's terrible. 1996. That to me doesn't seem that long ago, but that was so long ago, man.
Right. And also there on the flyer is that Say It Here QR code next to the playing card there. You can actually scan that with your phone and submit your tip that way too.
Oh, that's a KC Crime Stoppers. Say It Here. Awesome, man.
Yeah, I like that they put that on there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm glad that a lot of this stuff is like the QR codes and stuff. That's so helpful because you see a flyer, you're not going to remember it in 2023, but if you can just QR code it real quick and you're good to go. This is a case that's always haunting to cover because there's no we don't know anything other than what the newspapers have said, but this happened so long ago. Ricky's going to tell you about Catherine Adam, probably one of the more famous cases from your city, would you say?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, one of the more well-known. It's Catherine Adams. She's missing from here in town since April 29th, 1993. She was 35 when she was missing, and I just updated this yesterday to reflect that she would now be 65. She's 5'4", weighs 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen at 4:30 in the morning on April 29th, 1993 at the Quick Shop convenience store in the 1700 block of West Crawford here in Salina. She drove a white full-size Ford van with "She Has Legs" written on the sides, which you can see on the photo there in blue. It's actually white lettering on blue background. Well, the Legs logo is in a darker blue on the lighter blue, but yeah. Her van turned up abandoned at 5:45 p.m. the day after her disappearance at Russell's Restaurant in the 600 block of West Point Boulevard. The restaurant was closed for remodeling at that time. The van was spattered with mud on the outside, and it was blood-soaked on the inside. A large amount of blood was also found at a storage unit in West Salina, where Catherine, a saleswoman for Lake's hosiery company, picked up her stock each day. There was no sign of her at either place, and she's never been heard from again. Police speculate someone attacked Catherine when she went inside the storage unit. It appeared they interrupted her in the process of loading merchandise into her van, leaving the door of the unit open. Catherine was separated from her husband at the time of her disappearance and had a teenage daughter. Her case remains unsolved, and foul play is strongly suspected in her case. Matter of fact, they've actually upgraded it from a missing person to an homicide case, is what they've done. And if you have any information regarding Catherine Adams' disappearance, you know her whereabouts, call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or you can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip that way, or call KBI at 785-296-4017, or KBI at 1-800-572-7463, and see if we can't help get her located and get some justice for her family, and on the off chance that she is no longer with us. But, see what we can do to help out get this case solved.
Yeah. I follow this on Reddit. I follow this subreddit called Last Images, and I posted that far left picture in there.
Yeah,
and I'll have to send you all got a ton of comments. It was a few years ago that I posted it, but essentially the idea behind this subreddit is that you post the last picture of somebody that exists, and in
Right.
Catherine's situation at the time that I posted it, I put in the notes, I'm like, she's technically like not considered like deceased, she's missing.
Right.
But you read this flyer and it's really hard to fathom that with there being no reports of anybody being taken to a hospital within, with serious, in gunshot injuries.
Right.
It's pretty safe to say that I don't think anybody would survive an attack with the amount of blood that was left there without medical intervention. So
that's why the police did upgrade it to a homicide, because they felt like with the amount of blood that was in the van and the amount of blood that was at the storage facility, that the injuries wouldn't have been survivable.
Yeah. So to me, it's like it's a homicide. But again, the thing is when I look at that picture there, like she's backing out of the store. So like when I leave a gas station, I typically leave by pushing the door and walking out. The fact that she's backing into the door and pushing the door with her back leads me to believe, and I'm speculating, but it leads me to believe that she knows these people. She goes to this gas station every morning to start her day.
Oh yeah,
and she's saying bye to these people, because it doesn't look like she's just like some random shopper. She's like, hey guys, I'll see you tomorrow. And it's very tragic. And I asked myself, I'm like, do you think she felt weird? Do you think she had impending doom? I mean, because something very evil happened very soon after that picture was taken.
Right. And if you see the full-size shot, she's carrying a newspaper in one hand and her coffee in the other hand. So, because I've seen the full-size shot. I actually have the full-size shot.
You never know what's going to happen. She's just going to buy a newspaper, get some coffee. She thinks she's going to have a regular day, and nobody's seen her since then.
Right.
Do you remember, because how old were you in 93, and what did you feel like whenever you heard this in your town?
Let's see, 93, I would have been 25. No, it would have been 26. I would have been 26 in 1993. And I remember when it all happened, I just thought it was crazy that something like that would happen here. And I remember we had a lot of rain around that time too, so we had a lot of flooding. So I know that hampered investigative efforts right off the bat with the fact we had so much rain that year. I got pictures of some of the flooding from like some of the local parks and whatnot. But yeah, it flooded pretty bad. So I'm sure that hampered a lot in the beginning. But I just thought, it was really crazy that something like that would happen in Salina, because Salina, probably at that time, because we're about 50,000 people now, so I'd say 93, I'd say we were probably around 45,000 or so right around then, probably 46,000. So, I mean, still somewhat of a small town. So, I mean, it's just bizarre. I mean, just like the Nellie Hubbard thing and the Mildred Hawk, Gina ciphers and all that. I mean, it's crazy that stuff like that happens here.
You're not kidding, man. So that that flood you're talking about, that
Yeah.
was considered, what does it say here? It says that was the worst natural disaster in Kansas's history because it caused billions of dollars of damages.
Wow. So I was working at Boston Travel Center at the time, and the backfield behind the truck stop was completely submerged. There's a river back there too. The river was over its banks. The field was flooded. Water was so deep in the river that, I mean, it was an overpass over the river to get into Boston's. The river was almost right up to the underside of that bridge. It was so deep. And I have pictures of that too.
It said that the floodwaters got to 30 feet in some areas.
Thomas Park up the street from Bosselman's was totally underwater. You couldn't even get into that park. Not that anybody would really want to, but yeah, it is heartbreaking. It is.
And of course, yeah, we will share Verlon's flyer until he gets found.
Yeah, it was Verlissa that actually had contacted me initially. Yes, so we definitely wanted to get him on the show.
We're sorry he's in this situation, but we're going to help you, and we're going to get this shared, and hopefully we can get some answers and get him where he needs to be back at your house. Let's go ahead and talk about John Doe. This looks like a pretty interesting case here.
Yeah, this is a Gary County John Doe from April 2nd, 1989. Now, he was found in Gary County, which is where I was at today, on April 2nd, 1989. His estimated age is 38 to 49. He was a male. They believe he was a Caucasian male. The hair color and eye color was unknown. 5'3", weight was unknown. It was skeletal remains that were discovered in Gary County on a sandbar of the Smoky Hill River near Grandview Plaza, just south of Interstate 70. I went right over that bridge today, as a matter of fact. Following the examination of the remains by a forensic anthropologist, it was determined the remains belonged to a white male who had been between 38 and 49. At the time of the death, the individual was approximately 5'5" and died sometime between 1985 and 1988 or 89. Gary County Sheriff's Office enlisted the help of a facial reconstruction expert who was able to provide a clay molding of what the person looked like prior to death. It is possible remains could have washed down the river, as communities west of Gary County are of special interest. The Gary County Sheriff's Office and the KBI are seeking the public's help in identifying these remains. If you have any information regarding this case, contact Lieutenant Brian Hornaday at the Gary County Sheriff's Office at 785-238-2261 or the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can help identify this man and give him his name back and get him back to his family. You can see there's a lot of pictures that they did of the reconstruction. Looks like a couple different hairstyles and a couple bald head and then the skull itself.
That's super tragic. You pass away, and not only does your family not get to mourn your passing, but like nobody even knows. Like, we have a body, we could do DNA, but we don't have anybody to, it's like, that's very sad. And we were talking about NamUs earlier. They do have the missing person database that you pull from often, but they also do have an unidentified person database, and I didn't know that. So it looks like they have a whole database of. And what's crazy is the whole John Doe thing, like that goes back to the early days. But it just means John Doe is a man, an unidentified male. Jane Doe is an unidentified female, and it's crazy that there's so many unidentified bodies that they have a database. Like, that freaks me out.
Yeah, they do. And they're, and these unidentified remains, they get compared to quite a few cases. Some of them do. Some get, they compare them to a lot of missing persons cases to see if maybe they're this missing person or that missing person and stuff like that. So they do their best to try to identify them.
Trisha says these older ones need to be solved. I think she was talking about the flood. She remembered the flood well.
She jumped back to YouTube.
Prayers for they're all found. Answers are found for closure, and the families for forensic. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about William Farmer.
Okay. Yeah, this is William Billy Allen Farmer, and I just actually updated his flyer. I noticed I hadn't updated it in quite some time. But the Salina County Sheriff's Office is hoping that someone may have a small bit of information that could help clear nearly 31 year. Well, it's been longer than that. I forgot to update that part. Unsolved murder case on May 31st, 1981. Billy Farmer was found dead in a car with multiple gunshot wounds in a remote area southeast of New Cambria. Thursday morning, a sheriff's office and the family of Farmer made an appeal to anyone who might have any information about the murder to come forward. Deputy Jim Hughes has been investigating the case as it's believed that with recent deaths of some persons of interest in the case, someone who might have felt intimidated should come forward with information that can be used to close the case. Hughes and the Salina County Sheriff, Glenn Kokonowski, who's now deceased, both said there are people in the area who know what happened, but for many reasons have not chosen to come forward to law enforcement. But they asked him to come forward now and help provide closure for Farmer's two sons, Brady and Bronson, and his wife, Brenda Farmer Henderson. Anyone who believes they may have information concerning the case, no matter how small or insignificant they think may be, are asked to contact Salina County Sheriff's Office at 785-826-6500 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. You can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637. And I put this on here because it's got the Crime Stoppers link. We go to the www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip that way. Or call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can get the Farmer family some justice that they deserve.
I was just, for those of you curious, in the last 3 weeks, it seems like I've gotten really smart. I'm using a robot to help me. So before you think I'm smart, I'm not. But I'm sitting here looking up, and I kind of asked the robot here, Ricky, what does it take for a case to be cold? And it says that I thought there would be like a deadline as far as years of time, but it says it really doesn't have to do with time. It has basically to do with 4 things. If there's a lack of new leads or evidence, if there's a lack of witnesses, or limited resources, or time. So basically the last 2 are the same. If it's costing the police force too much time and resources to track down a case that they have 0 leads for, that means other cases are suffering that could be solved. So but that's the thing, like cold cases in the last 10, 15 years have been getting solved a lot more with technology and stuff, but not just technology, people coming forward, witnesses coming forward 20, 30, 40 years later and saying, hey, I know what happened. And if you can, take care of the situation, I'll let you know what happened. So
Right.
there's always a shot for cold cases, but unfortunately that's the reason they go cold,
Right. It's actually been nearly 42 years instead of 31. I need to correct that little boo-boo there. But yeah, it's been nearly 42 years. So
she says the internet is down in our little town, so I am on my cell. If I get dumped out, I just go to the other platform. You guys getting storms or what?
Oh, wow.
There's been some crazy storms lately.
Yeah, there has.
Let's go ahead and talk about Nellie Mae Hubbard.
Okay, doke. Yeah, you can see I'm using the only pictures that I could find, and they're not terrific, but until I can get something better, that's going to have to work, I guess. But Nellie Mae Hubbard, her murder is still unsolved after 42 years. Happened on March 14th, 1981. She was found deceased in her residence at 1008 East Elm Street on the cot she slept in on her living room floor, or in her living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was on the floor. She did put up a struggle during her attack. Ultimately, Nellie died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. She also had an injury to the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other internal injuries, so she must have put up one heck of a fight. Upon searching Nellie's home, investigators found $93,000 in cash and over $100,000 in CDs or certificates of deposits, and a large quantity of silver coins dating back to 1886. There was also like some tokens from the old railroad and the old, stuff like that as well in there too. I'm not sure what the value on those would have been, but investigators also discovered that Nellie's home was filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made 2 bedrooms completely unusable. Nellie Mae Hubbard deserves to be able to rest in peace. So, so we can please help bring her killer to justice. And if you have any information, please call the Salina Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes to 74637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip, or call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463. And there again, a picture of the cigarette lighter that was found underneath her body that they believe belonged to the killer was part of a series of lighters that were released in November of 1980 as part of the presidential election that year. I'm not sure. They said it was a series of lighters, so I don't know if they mean series in terms of a new lighter coming out each week for a certain period of time, or if it was like a box set. So the only thing I can think of is if you know somebody that was using that particular lighter at the time, and then for some unexplained reason, they weren't anymore. That would be information to call in. Or if it was a box set and somebody had that box set and that lighter would come up missing, again, that would be something I would call in as well. Anything that could be helpful. I mean, I was just shocked that I actually got a picture of the actual lighter that was found under Nellie. I was trying to get a picture, at least the duplicate that came out in a newspaper article back in '81. I didn't expect to actually get sent pictures of the actual lighter, but there it is. So let's see if that'll jar somebody's memory. If anybody knows anything, no matter how small of a piece, a little tidbit of information you think it is, get it called in. And I agree with you, Kelly. She does.
Dawn is saying she never knows which is the better platform to watch on. Trisha says she likes YouTube better. Oh, okay. I think YouTube's pretty cool. The only thing with YouTube is I feel like we have more people watching on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So they can probably, but we pin every comment that goes out anyway, so it doesn't matter where you're watching from. You see everybody's comment, but
yeah,
unless it's like a weird comment that we can report those. But we haven't seen Shady Booty in quite a bit, so we might make a flyer for
who that was.
They were cool. I mean, it was a weird name, but they were cool.
Yeah, I just like to know who it was.
Yeah.
Who thinks they got a shady booty?
Exactly. We're sticking around your town tonight a lot. Let's talk about this case, Beverly.
Yeah, I pulled up some cases we didn't do last time because I wanted to make sure we're getting them covered here. This one's on January 21st, 2008. Salina Police Department responded to 1200 East Iron to check the welfare of the only occupant of the residence, Beverly Logan, which that's a decent sized house for one person. But anyway, officers found the front door ajar and Mrs. Logan deceased in the kitchen. It was imperative to the investigating officers that she was the victim of a brutal attack. The homicide occurred around noon on Monday, next door to a heavily patronized convenience store on a major arterial street, which is a Casey's convenience store. And I'm trying to remember if in 2008 it was still Green Lantern or not. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a busy intersection. Like I said, I was on that intersection today getting gas at that very convenience store, and the traffic on Iron Avenue going west was just crazy this morning. Made me it was about 20 minutes late getting to Manhattan because of it. But anyway, Beverly's murder has been extensively investigated by the Salina, Kansas Police Department, and the investigation is ongoing. There have been no viable suspects developed. If you have any information regarding Beverly's death, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-826-8477. Or again, you can text SA Tips to Crimes to 74637 or go to www.pds.salina.org. Follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip. Yeah, you may receive a cash reward of up to $1,000. You're not required to give your name. Or again, you can call KBI and give them the information at 1-800-572-7463 and see what we can do to help get Beverly and her family some justice.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, initially, I know they were thinking in the beginning that she has some collector's dolls, and they were thinking maybe that was, robbery was a motive, but none of the dolls were taken. So I think they ruled that out, and they did release a sketch of a gentleman that was seen standing outside the house on the corner there around the time that they think that she was killed. And then they retracted and said, nope, that's not a person of interest anymore.
Okay.
So I don't know. But again, any information you have, no matter how minute you think it is, call that in. See if we can't help get her some justice.
Right. And it's really easy to just hear, call Crime Stoppers. You don't have to say your name and they'll send you money. So Crime Stoppers actually started in 1976. They're in 20 countries. And how it works is you report your tip to Crime Stoppers via a hotline or a website. Those tips are then forwarded to law enforcement. It has nothing to do with your name, has nothing to do with it. And that's guaranteed by Crime Stoppers. They will never tell the police who gave them that information, and the rewards are paid out through a third party to protect the identity of the tipster. So this is the real deal. If you know something about an unsolved homicide and you don't want to go down with your information, call Crime Stoppers. Let them know, and if it pays out, you might get some money. But yeah, I mean, this is a company that's been around since 1976, and they make it their guarantee that if you report a crime or a tip, that not even the police will ever know that you were the one that gave that tip.
And here's another thing. I was talking to somebody in law enforcement the other day. They had called me about a case, and we were talking, and he had made the comment, and I agree with this. He made the comment, he said he realizes that there are certain people that are afraid to step forward because they're worried about retaliation and this and that. And he said, I get it. But he said at the same time, if you call that information in, we can get them off the street and get them behind bars, and you don't have to worry about being scared. I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So, if you got that information, call it in.
Yeah. What does she talk? I think it was still Green Lantern then.
Yeah, that convenience store that's right next door to Beverly Logan's house. It was a Green Lantern. And then when Charlie Walker passed away, Casey's took them all over. So they're all Casey's general stores now. But yeah, I think a lot of it though is the way the car wash stalls are situated next to the convenience store. It kind of impedes your vision to where her house sits, because it really the stalls do conceal the house a little bit. But there's houses across the street from her house. There's 2 apartment buildings across the street from her house. So I mean, somebody should have seen something. Whether it was somebody running from the house or whatever, somebody hanging around the house and then not being there and then running away from the house, something,
Yeah. I was answering. This is a comment here that I thought was interesting. It's so sad as someone has been walking free after doing such a horrific murder after all these years. And that's another reason to call Crime Stoppers if you know who killed Beverly Logan. Because, if somebody killed Beverly Logan and they're still alive, that means, and they're still in Salina, that means there is a murderer just hanging out in your house, in your city.
It's sad and it's scary at the same time.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Like my kid, he'll tell me we should cover it next week. The Barbara and Walter Singer, I think, the couple that got murdered down the street from my house. My kid will come tell me, he's like, Dad, I'm scared of this random fake cartoon I found on YouTube. I'm like, I wouldn't be scared of that. He's like, why? I was like, oh, an elderly couple got murdered like 4 blocks away, like 5 years ago. I was like, they didn't catch those people. I was like, that's what keeps me up at night. I'm not scared about cartoon cat. I was like, there are people walking these streets, unless they got arrested for something else later. That's always a possibility. A lot of times when you find out through DNA, they find out who, like some guy who was, doing rapes or murders or break-ins, they find out they are in jail. They end up, but that's the thing. That's the thing.
Well, the scary thing about it is, I live here in Salina. I have all my life, never moved out of this town or anything like that. Been here 56 years. And you think about it, it's like, I could be in Dillon's, I could be in Walmart, I could be in Target, I could be at work. And who's to say that somebody that killed somebody here in town isn't walking by me in the store?
Yeah.
That I didn't walk by him and just didn't realize that was the killer, because some people think that people that kill people look all crazy and wigged out and all this stuff. No, they look like just everyday normal people.
Yep. They shop somewhere. I'm sure you.
Yeah.
As many unsolved murders are in Salina, I'm sure you've been in the same room as a killer before. She said, was there an SA?
What's an SA?
A type of assault. You got to be
Oh, I know
careful
what
with
she
what you
means.
say on streams. Yeah.
She okay, I get what she's talking about. She's she's censoring herself because of YouTube. I know what she's
Yeah.
doing. As far as I know, no. I haven't heard about anything like that.
See, to me, her case seems so weird because, like what you said, it seems like she had quite a bit of things of value in her house.
Yeah, she had a
And
parrot.
yeah, I mean, but you said that she had like she had like a bunch of stuff, like dolls, and like
She
wasn't
had
there
some,
money in there too?
yeah. So, well, I know she had dolls, but I don't know anything beyond dolls.
Okay, but I mean, like nothing was stolen. Like it's just like somebody came in there, killed her, and left. It doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense, you know.
yeah.
Zilta says, "Hey Ricky, I found some info about a case on my phone. My computer is down, so I can't send it. Even my Wi-Fi on my phone is down. I really want to get it to you. Oh, see if you can send it to the Kansas Missing Unsolved page or his email.
Yeah.
We will get that taken care of. Let's talk about Stephen Bettles.
Okay, and I recently added those top 3 photos to this flyer. This is Stephen James Bettles, September 15th, 2009, Salina County, Kansas. He was 38. He was found dead from a gunshot wound shortly after 5 p.m. on September 18th, September 15th, 2009, by members of his family who were checking on his welfare. Stephen's body was found in a house trailer behind the main house on his property at 9041 East Shipton Road near I-70, just west of town of Solomon in eastern Salina County. Stephen had been employed as an over-the-road truck driver for Great Plains Trucking, is believed to have been killed 2 days before his body was found. When he failed to show up for work on September 15th, his employer became concerned and contacted his family, who found him the same day. No other details have been released in Stephen's murder, and no arrests have ever been made. If you have any information on Stephen's case, again, no matter how small you think it is, it could be a big piece. Call Salina County Sheriff's Office at 785-826-6500 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. Or text SA tips to that crimes number that I gave you earlier. Or go to www.pd.salina.org and go to the Crime Stoppers link there. Or you can even call KBI, and that number is 800-572-7463. And let them know what you know about it and see if we can't get some justice for Stephen and his family. I was going to put the rest of that information on the flyer, but I kind of ran out of room.
His family feel like he has been forgotten.
Well, we're making sure that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some comments from his family members about him being felt like he's being forgotten and things like that, where we're wanting to make sure it doesn't get forgotten because, again, another killer's walking the streets unless they've been caught for something else.
Yeah. There are murderers and all types in our lives. Like you said, every 50 to 100 people. So you meet, cross paths with maybe 1 to 2 murders or vile crime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a law of numbers,
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, Veronica, anybody from the family, if there's any more information, on Verlon, obviously you can go to Kansas Missing Unsolved Facebook page. Or if you want, right there on the screen, kmupod.com. There's a contact button there, and that goes directly to Ricky's email. So you just go to kmupod.com, contact. It'll send you right to Ricky. And we will definitely update that flyer with anything that we can to help get some resolution here. Let's talk. Oh, we already did. Go ahead.
Here's another scary statistic. The FBI estimates, I shouldn't say guesstimates, but estimates that at any one time there's between 80 and 100 serial killers operating across the United States at any one time. There's just a scary one.
Yeah, that's. I listen to the true crime podcast, man. I'm starting to feel like I don't like them, man.
Yeah.
Like crazy. I like Muddy Waters. Mm-hmm. Like that's just a guy trying to find people.
Yeah.
But I mean, you see a lot of these people that are just, and again, there's nothing wrong with making a living. Like if me and Ricky can make a living doing this, that'd be awesome. But like we do it for free, but there's nothing wrong with making a living. But like it seems like some of these podcasts and these YouTube channels I come across, Like there's just zero respect for the victim or the victim's family.
Right.
It's just gore, and they just want to say all this horrible stuff so people will watch it. And for some
Yeah.
reason, people listen to that. I listen to stuff like that. So
Right.
I do find it very troubling.
I try to be as respectful as I can when I'm covering the unsolved homicides and stuff, because I don't like getting into graphic details and things like that, because they're going through a hard enough time. You know, you don't want to rehash that stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't need. Yeah,
Especially when it's a family member that found the victim in the first place.
looks like Trisha tagged Steven's family.
Cool. Thank you, Trisha.
Don's talking about Beverly. Maybe they had planned to rob her, but something scared them off.
Yeah, I mean, you could apply that to both Beverly and Nellie, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking about Nellie, and somebody could have got wind that she may have had all this money in the house, and they got in there, and you know, she spooked him, and you know, they took off, or they got in there to start searching, and you know, they could have killed her off and started searching, and figured, well, there's just too much crap in here. Let's just get out of here. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if 2 bedrooms are so full of crap, you couldn't get in there. You know?
Yeah. There's some unsolved murders from my hometown, and one of the biggest, you know, and it's all, you know, hearsay. No, obviously, these cases haven't been solved, so nobody knows what happened. But one of the biggest things that I've always heard is that the victim maybe saw something, heard something, or knew something that made a bad person nervous. You know, there's always that. Maybe she saw something, you know, maybe she saw a crime happen and somebody was silencing her. Maybe she knew something. Again, just sheer speculation. But honestly, it doesn't make sense that, you know, somebody just walked into her house, you know, killed her and just left, and they didn't take anything, nothing. So really makes you wonder. Let's talk about Josie Holloway, a Wichita, Kansas case.
Yeah, we've actually had a flare up for her before, and here we are again. She's missing from Wichita, Kansas since March 28th of 2023. She's 17, 5'2", 130 pounds, light brown blonde hair, brown eyes. She does have a piercing through the bridge of her nose, and both eyebrows are pierced. It looks like she's got quite a few piercings there. If you have any information regarding Josie's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Josie located and back to where she needs to be.
Yes, and for any Kansas teens that are out there that are missing on their own volition, there is the Kansas Department for Children and Families. They have a program for people who are missing on their own volition, or if you're just homeless, they do provide emergency shelter, food, clothing, and 100% what you need is counseling. And they also support reunification with family or other supportive adults. Obviously, we have the National Runaway Safe Line, which we have adverts for on our website. And then there's also the Kansas Runaway and Homeless Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center in Kansas. So there are several places for anybody who is out there missing on their own volition. If you want to go home, you can pretty much just go to kmupod.com, click resources, and but you can just go to Google too. And there's many resources available in Kansas for somebody who wants to go home.
That last one you mentioned, we need to make a screen thing like we did for the runaway hotline and that, so we can pop it up from time to time too.
Which one? The Kansas Runaway and Homeless Youth Training?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, there's this one here is vague though. It says there's a lot of local youth centers in Kansas that help. But the thing is, all these places offer counseling, and I think that's something a lot of young people could use if they're in a situation like that.
What was it called again?
So that one's going to be, the first one is the Kansas Runaway and Homeless Youth Training and Technical Assistance Center.
You'll have to you message me those names.
Okay, yeah, I have it. I'll give it to you after we get done. I'll send it to you on Facebook. But yeah, there's a lot of resources here for sure. Yeah, so hopefully we can get some.
We can put that in the resources on the page and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Gabriel.
Yeah, I replaced the photo that I had on there before with the one on the left here, because the other one, he was kind of flipping the bird, and I was asked if I could take that off, so I did. And looking at his Facebook, he likes to do that a lot. His name is Gabriel Gabe Isaac Carl Newton. He's missing from Topeka since March 25th, 2023. He's 17. He is 6'3", 170 pounds, red hair and blue eyes. Don't have much more than that. If you have any information regarding Gabriel's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department. It's 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get him located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's just out there doing his thing, but hopefully Gabriel, it's time to get somebody a call and get back to where you need to be.
Yeah. I know it seems like, I remember when I was 17, it seems like you're an adult and, pretty soon you'll be like an adult, but there's going to be a time when you look back and you're going to be like, man, I think it's crazy they called me an adult at 18, you're still young, 18 is young. And you might as well start off in a healthy place. Being on the run where nobody knows where you are is obviously not a good place to be in. So if home is dangerous, let the police know. If, like I said, but we need to know where you are,
Right.
Granted, you're almost 18, but being missing, if something happens to you medically, somebody harms you, nobody's going to know because nobody has any idea where you are. So,
yep.
She said, okay. We have some, Crystal said, there is a missing member in my family, a half sister I never met, disappeared, no trace. She says, that's sad. I'm so sorry, Crystal. Hope your family gets the answers one day. I pray
Crystal,
that,
if she can get me photos and information, I'll be glad to get a flyer made. Let's see what all you can find out about her and see if a missing persons report was ever filed.
She says something about a truck stop she went to, and it was around the time the serial killer was traveling all the states. We're not sure if she met him or not. Wow. That's scary.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Renio.
Yeah, this is
Renaya.
I was thinking Renaya. This is Renaya Wilson, missing from Pleasant Valley, Missouri since January 22nd, 2023. She's 17. She's 5'2", 120 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen packing a bag and leaving her father's house on January 22nd. She may be with an unknown female in Pleasant Valley. Again, she's 17. She's 5'2", weighs 120 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Renaya's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call Pleasant Valley, Missouri Police Department at 816-781-7373 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their toll-free number 866-362-6422. See if we can't get Renaya located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah, it's been January. Yeah, we're already in April. It's crazy, man. They say, time goes by faster when you get older. They're not kidding, man. Like, it's already April.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a rough year. Had a lot of located deceased this year. Starting off the year, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we have enough in the last month to do another video almost. It's been just a really rough summer. I mean, a winter for the located deceased.
Yeah, and just recently identifying the remains found down in Harvey County is Sasha Brooks Kaminsky, and they found Abby Schaefer's remains over in Kansas City, and where was that? I can't think of that gentleman's name. They found here in Salina County they said was partially hanging from a tree. He was from here originally, but moved to Kansas City and still had family here. He was 57, I believe. I think his last name was, I ain't going to guess on that one. But we still have one other set of remains that haven't been identified yet. It was found in Allen County. And then the Wilson County remains that were found were identified as a female, and I can't remember her name either now. But it's just been, I didn't have flyer up for either the gentleman that was found here in Salina County or the one in Wilson County. So, Sasha Kaminsky, I did. I had one up for her and one up for Abby Schaefer.
Yeah. We're obviously going to do a video 1 second, but I just wanted to put this up here real quick. I'm going to download this. We're doing stuff on the fly here. I want to put this up, and I'll get Sasha too. And we're obviously going to do a proper tribute to all the located deceased. But this one here, we cover so many cases on this show, and believe it or not, like sometimes, I this isn't the only podcast I do. I work with like 7 podcasts. So a lot of stuff, I remember it. If somebody brought it up, I would think about it. But a lot of the stuff, like I see it and I just remember it. But when he sent me a text message and he said Abby Rain Schaefer was located deceased. And just for some reason, the name, I remembered it. And I was like, is that the girl from the Ring doorbell? And he's like, yeah. And I got to tell you, man, like I never said this on the air, but just the way she disappeared, I never felt okay about. I was worried this was the case back then. Like that was so odd how she just like disappeared. And there's like, the Ring doorbell footage. That's so eerie.
Yeah. I mean, she was seen getting into a dark gray 4-door car with an unknown male. And from the reports I got from family was that car had been sitting out in front of the house for like 6 hours.
Didn't we initially have a picture of the car?
Yeah, on the original flyer I did, yeah.
But they asked us to take it down, right?
They got the car. They've talked to the guy driving the car. So I'm not sure what became of that, but no idea. I know these pictures of her going back into the house. She went in to go get her cat. She always took her cat just about everywhere she went.
Oh, so her cat was missing too?
Yeah, and the cat had since been located and returned back to the family.
That is
so they have the cat.
The cat was located?
Yeah, the cat was found and returned back to the family.
Like how long ago was the cat located?
I'd have to look, but it's been a little while.
Okay, I was like, not the same day that they found her.
No,
okay.
I don't believe it was the same day. I think it was a little time past that, but yeah. So the family has her cat. So
yeah, well, prayers to her family. I hate when this happens, but I gotta tell you,
definitely
the first time you read that flyer, I was like, that is scary. If that was my kid, I would be freaking out.
Right.
And then obviously Sasha. We've covered her for quite some time. This is very sad.
Yeah, been missing a little over 2 years. Not sure what the circumstances around her disappearance were or anything like that. So, but to be found in a hedgerow out in a field, a little sketchy. But we'll have to wait and see what they determine, because they're still doing an autopsy to confirm cause of death. They're trying to. So we'll have to see.
Double T brings up a good comment. Do we know if Abby's death is being looked at a homicide or suspicious?
I think they're still investigating it. They said last article I saw said that it was a suspicious death investigation. So we'll have to see what they determine on that one.
Jeez, that's awful. We hate to see it, but like I said, this winter we've had a lot of located deceased.
Oh yeah,
it's not good. Well, let's go ahead and cover our cases that we cover every week. Dietrich Foster, 5,000 reasons to, if you have information to let us know. Ricky's going to tell you all about it.
Yep, he's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. Was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. Last seen around April 12th of 2020 in Independence. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings, during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He would now be 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700. or KBI at 785-296-4017. And like Derek mentioned, there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So again, no matter how small of a piece of information you may have, get it called in and see if it's the piece they need to put some pieces together to get some things figured out. Could be what they need.
Yeah, and I'm always curious what constitutes a governor's reward. Obviously, you wish that every flyer had one, but
Yeah, I don't know what the criteria is. I'm gonna have to see if I can figure that out. I'll have to read the KBI website and see if there's anything about what the criteria is.
I asked the robot, and it just said that in Kansas, governor's award is something that's typically given to like an officer or a person who like has done amazing public service or an act of heroism. But it didn't really know about a specifics of a governor's reward for like people turning in. And then same question for Sasha. Is there any info on whether or not that's being investigated as shady?
Again, autopsy results are pending on that one, so I don't know.
Okay.
I would think it would be somewhat suspicious, being that, like I said, she was found in a hedgerow out in the rural area.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, your first impression is you don't see her going there voluntarily.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know.
Very sketch. Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce.
Okay, Dana Bruce is missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 37. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the remainder of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man Dana was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her again after that. She left all her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She doesn't have any credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She was 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She's blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100. We're Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or their toll-free number 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Dana located and back home to her family. I know they're, desperately wanting her home and wanting answers as to what happened to her, and, let's see if we can't make that happen, because, again, if you have information, no matter how minute or small of a piece you think it might be, could be a huge piece of what they need to put some stuff together to get an arrest made. You just never know.
And just to put into perspective, I've asked the robot since October 4th, 2008. So tonight, when Dana's children, family, loved ones, anybody that knows her and is worried about her, tonight they'll go to bed for the 5,353rd time without knowing where she is. Like, that's crazy.
Wow.
When you think of it that way, that's 5,000 days of not knowing where your mom is.
I never would have thought to do the math that way before.
It's not good.
No,
that's a lot of heartbreak. That's a lot of probably crying. I mean, how do you go? I can't go to sleep when I'm like missing my wallet. I mean, it's your kid, your mom, your sister. Like it's terrible. So obviously, if there's any information out there, let's please get this out there. Trisha says, so sad.
Yeah, I agree.
She says, thank you. Dana's kids watched it. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
I didn't know they watched. That's
thank
awesome.
you for doing that, Dana.
That is awesome. Let's see here. Diana says, so much to do for Easter. I'm very late, but well, you are here and you are ready to go. We are doing good. Dawn had mentioned earlier that her cousin Debbie's murder was 25 years ago and remains unsolved. She says the saddest part is she has 2 daughters who grew up without their mom, which is, pretty what we just said about, Dana. Like anybody that we're showing that's missing for 5,000 days, like if they have kids, like that's tragic. That is very tragic.
Refresh my memory, Don. Have I done a flyer for her?
Double T is questioning the robot. I asked Robot, how many days has it been since October 4th, 2008? Robot says 5,352 days, including both start and end dates.
I don't know. He's pretty good with numbers, so I don't know.
Well, if he's right, I'm firing the robot, and Terry's going to work for me. I'm just going to get a direct line to him. Like, Terry, tell me the information on this now. Oh, also, I can't pay you because robot's free. So, but yeah, 5,000. I mean, his figure, my figure. The fact is, they're both over 5,000 times. These people have gone to sleep without knowing where she is.
It's crazy. I never thought of it in those terms.
Let's talk about Kenny Wrightcheck again. If anybody out there has any pictures of Kenny, and we're not talking about like recent, we're talking about we want to get to know Kenny. He's been missing a while. Ricky's told several stories about seeing Kenny throughout the community. A lot of people have commented that they enjoyed Kenny as a character in this town of Salina. Everybody saw him. Everybody saw who he was. And if you have any pictures or any more information about who he was, we just kind of like to learn along with the audience of who Kenny was and really get to know him better than just a missing persons flyer and one photo that looks like it was maybe for like an ID or something. Like I feel like we can get more personal than that. But Ricky's going to tell you about this silver alert.
Yeah, this is Kenny Wrightcheck. Of course, he's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He is 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown instead of Wrightcheck. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability, but has not tried to access his money since he was last seen. He may have family up in the northwest part of Kansas around Colby. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission here in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since that time. My understanding was that he was evicted from his house. The police took him out to the mission. He had been staying out there, had a little bit of an issue with one of the residents and decided to leave. So that's the last thing that's what I was told about him. He doesn't have a phone, a vehicle, or any identification. He motored around town on a bicycle, picking up scrap metal and stuff like that to take over to Salina Iron and Metal, which is now all metal recycling, to make a few bucks. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit your tip. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. Again, no matter how small of a piece of information it might be, get that called in because it could be something that they need to get them going in the right direction. You just never know.
So I just told Robot that Double T had a different number, and Robot said, I apologize, Double T is right. What the heck is going on? Your brother's a genius, man. He's smarter than the computer. He's hired. I need his phone number. No, I mean, I just want to know who Kenny was. You tell your stories, and it seems like he was a cool guy. I probably would have liked to, talk to him if I saw him at the store or something. But you said that red hair, right? Like he had red hair.
Yeah, his hair was more of a reddish color, and like I say, I used to see him play pinball and video games in the gas stations on the corner, and would stand there and watch him play and chat with him and stuff.
And what year, like, what are you talking? Like, what years are you talking about?
I would have been Good gravy train. That'd probably been the early part of the early mid '80s, probably way back then. But I've seen him all around town since then. I mean, I would see
Right.
him, riding down the street on his bicycle or walking down the street or whatever. So, I mean, I'd seen him off and on all the time.
I'm
'Cause
just
I've-
curious. Back when you saw him playing pinball, like with the red hair, like how did he carry his hair back then? Was it like long or short or?
Yeah, it's about like what you're seeing in the picture. He always kept it short.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he was a nice guy. I mean, there were some people that would make fun of him because of his diminished mental health and call him some pretty bad names, and it was sad that people actually stooped to that. It really was. I didn't like it, but I definitely remember it. It was being a victim of bullying myself. It's just not good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not good. Diana says Kenny was an icon in Salina.
yeah, he was. He really was. I wish we could figure out what's going on and where he went, what happened to him. I mean, he could be out there somewhere, just living his best life, not even realizing he's missing. You just never know.
Diana's saying she can't figure out why he was evicted. From my understanding, it's a I don't know what the word is. It gentrification. It's basically people who live in housing that somebody feels like they could the property under the house is worth more than what it's creating now. Then they typically will kick people out of their neighborhood just so they can bulldoze it and build something. And I don't know for sure, but didn't you say that how his housing area was done? They did do that, like they bulldozed it.
Yeah,
And what did they build there?
My understanding, Diana, is if you go over to the east side of the police department on Elm Street, there's that block right there where there's a parking lot on that block. That's where I was told is where he lived, was that block where they built that parking lot. So that's why my understanding was he was evicted from the house so they could build that parking lot because they leveled a bunch of houses right there.
The case Don was talking about happened in Colorado.
And it's now a parking lot for the police department. It's like a private, like I guess where the officers would park their civilian vehicles so they could go hop in a police car and go do their job. Yeah. That's my understanding.
It's tragic. You think that, and again, it's not like they knew that if they did that and built a parking lot there, that Kenny would disappear. But it seems like that was a big contributing factor. Like they changed his routine, and he's not. We haven't seen him since that day. So, that's a big deal. If somebody came up to me tomorrow and said, "Hey, you can't live here anymore," that would be a problem.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me, and I don't know if this is the case, but it sounds like to me, and if anybody can confirm or refute it, that would be good. That he wasn't the only one evicted from that block. It sounds like so.
Yeah. Well, the last case we're going to cover tonight, we've been covering for a long time, Alexander Perez. If any of the families out there watching, please message us and let us know how Alexander's mom's doing. We haven't talked to her in a long time.
Yeah, I hope she's doing okay. This is Alexander Perez, missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020. He was 35 when he went missing. He's now 37. He is 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He'd called a family member on the phone on December 1st, said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he hasn't been heard from or seen by family since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in Garden City or the surrounding areas. At the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 37. 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. He has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes. Has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye, which you can see up there in those pictures there. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, which I wish I could get a hold of that tattoo. Has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest, and which you can see down there. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500, or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't help get Alex located and back home to his family, because there again is another family that's really wanting to get him home. So let's see if we can't help make that happen. Again, like I say, no matter how small that information might be, get it called in.
Yeah. And obviously, we have this voicemail that's very ominous. We're going to play it real quick. We'll be right back after this.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. It's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
Yeah. I need to look into it and see if either Ulysses County, or not Ulysses County, Ulysses, Kansas Police Department or Grant County, see if one or the other has like a Crime Stoppers type number that we could add to there too. I haven't looked into that. I need to do that.
Definitely time to update some information for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we ran late, but we're going to play Brandon's awesome Located Safe. We'll be right back after this. You're watching KMU Pod.
Always good to see the Located Safes, that's for sure. Terry said, still weird to me they went missing on December 1st, but yet the voicemail was left 5 days later. Well, this is interesting. I was doing some research while we were doing the Located Safe, and I looked up Grant County, Kansas Crime Stoppers, and it says Grant County, Kansas Crime Stoppers is permanently closed.
Sheesh. That is not good.
That's crazy.
Trisha says, so glad there's more Located Safe than deceased.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let me see if there's a Ulysses, Kansas Crime Stoppers. If I quit hitting the wrong keys, it would help.
While Ricky's looking, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We had a great time doing the show.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love hanging out with everybody each week, and I wish we all met under different circumstances, but I do like being web sleuths with all of you and trying to shine lights on some crimes. Please check out backhomemedia.com. There's a ton of podcasts on that website. We have Parentless Podcast, which is a podcast where you deal with the loss of parents. We have In the Free Zone with Norm, which is literally a show about anything. We have the El Cartel. There's tons. Just go to backhomemedia.com. Tons of shows. And then also, if you want to help Ricky directly, Ricky makes. I run the podcast. Brandon does the videos and stuff. We kind of do the technical side of stuff. But as far as the actual hands-on labor, Ricky works very hard. All of the flyers, all of the information, all of the research, Ricky does all on his own. If you go to the Kansas Missing Unsolved Facebook page, all those flyers are made by Ricky. That page is updated by Ricky. He has some help with some people. But if you want to help Ricky out, patreon.com/KMU pod. You can see it on the screen right now. Any donation, it's a monthly contribution thing. Anything that goes directly to Ricky. I don't get a dime of it. And then obviously please visit kmupod.com. That's where you're going to learn everything about our show. There's a ton of resources on there. There's cold cases, and there's also a contact button. You can contact Ricky directly. And we'll be back on the 11th of next week. And Ricky's going to do his thing to get out of here. But I just wanted to sort of say those things while you were looking that up.
Crystal, as far as I don't know if they've talked to the person he was having issues with or not. I never have heard on that. I would like to be able to find that out. And my little brother is asking me, what shirt am I wearing? I'm wearing the one that I just had made up. One of the two I had made up. I had another one made up too. It's a little different. It's similar but different. It's on a black shirt, and it's basically the same kind of logo, but it says helping bring people home since April 28th, 2012 on it.
Nice, man.
That's really cool too.
Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Don. Robot. Double T is not his name anymore. Now his name's Robot. Robot wants a shirt.
Yeah.
I can't believe he beat the Robot, man. He's a genius.
That's crazy. Yeah, a second. Oh, my legs.
Rodney likes the shirt. It is a really cool shirt. I'm going to have to make me one. Uh-oh, Ricky's breaking the fourth wall.
Here's the other one.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, that's the other one.
I like it, man.
Like I said, they were not cheap to make. That's for sure.
Yeah. But that usually means they're going to last. They're going to be really good, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saved the designs with the company that did it. So,
yeah. Looks good, man. I'm glad you got it made, and you can showcase that shirt everywhere you go, man.
Yeah, I wore it to Manhattan today.
We just need to buy you 7 of them so you can just always be representing KMU.
Right. Do one with the KMU pod logo in purple. I don't know if I'm going to or not because I'm not sure what it would cost to have a large quantity made to do that. Because, like I said, this particular one cost me a little over $30 to have done.
Yeah.
The black one too was a little over $30 to have done.
It's a whole conundrum because, like, you don't want to.
Custom
like,
Ink was the ones that did them. Custom Ink was the ones that did them.
Yeah. Because, like, you can go to those websites where they do all the work for you, and then they sell the shirt to your consumer for like $30, $35, and then you only make like $5. But my thing is I'd like to, if I'm only going to make $5, I'd rather my consumer pay like $16 or $17 and me only pay $10. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like $35 for a shirt for like a fan. But again, I'm a 90s kid, so like I still think a Snickers bar costs 50 cents in my head. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
those were the days.
Those were the days. I have a friend that can make. I can see him. That would be awesome. Yeah, contact Ricky. That would be awesome if there was some shirts. Yeah, it's just really just cost money to make shirts, and then you got so yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, that'll
show you how far off I am. We have a place here in town called District Eat and Play, and it's like a big old arcade, and it's got a couple of eating places in there and stuff like the skating rink and stuff like that in there. And they've actually just recently put pinball machines in, which I was ecstatic about. But they don't have coin slots. You have to use a card.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, gosh darn it. So you either have to use your debit or credit card, or they have a reloadable card. You can put X amount of money on it and use it until it's gone, and then go reload it again if you want to. But yeah, I saw the pinball machines. I was like, yes, pinball machines. Because I haven't seen pinball machines in this town for years.
Double T Robot says that ain't milk you're drinking. Crush.
Yep.
You partying tonight, buddy.
I'm crushing it. Got it before we left Manhattan today.
I've only seen you drink milk.
Yeah. I started off with a glass of milk, drank it. So well, I'll switch over to soda.
Just a milk guy. We're still looking for that milk sponsor, by the way. Just a crate of milk a month. That's all we want.
My brother's got a hoodie. I never was able to get a hoodie, so I don't have a hoodie. At least not KMU one. I would like to get one, but I don't know if they're available anymore.
So here's the deal. We're gonna make the KMU shirts, and They don't cost $30 anymore. They just cost a crate of milk. Ship it directly to Ricky.
Has to sell merch to get milk money.
Should have them made and sold at a large venue like River Festival with all the proceeds.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
That would be
awesome.
cool. Yeah, I my brother told me every year or Smoky River Festival, they always have one celebrity come in from the. It's like a celebrity from like one of the older TV shows coming in. And this year, my brother, he messaged me earlier. He says that it's confirmed for our car show this year. It's not the Smoky River Festival, but it's at the big car show that they do in July. And the confirmed celebrity for that car show for July is the guy that played Frank Poncherello in Chips back in the 70s, early 80s, Eric Estrada. He's going to be here in July. I'm like, okay, got to go over there for that one. Got to.
Eric Estrada. Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. I got goofed. Not the River Festival. Custom Kemp's car show. Yeah. That's a cool car show. It's everything. I mean, the whole place looks like it's a throwback to the 50s and 60s when they do those car shows. It's really cool. They even have
y'all are making me homesick, man.
Oh, it's awesome. I just wish they wouldn't do it in July when it's 100 degrees.
You gotta become one with the elements, man.
I'm glad I went last year though when Cindy Williams was there because she passed away recently. So I was glad I got to go over and do that. I'm really glad I did. Yep, Rodney Punch. Good old Frank Poncherello. Yeah, he made a great TV cop. And him and Larry Wilcox are still making appearances around the country together at times, too. I was noticing on Facebook the other day. So that's pretty cool. Showing my age, I know. I just did have my 56th birthday this past Saturday, so I am showing.
That's so age. Crazy. So your birthday, you turned 56 last Saturday
on April Fool's Day.
Norm turns 57 on Saturday.
Really?
I don't know what. God definitely has a sense of humor. He's like, Derek, for your 38th birthday, I'm going to give you 2 elderly best friends. They're gonna do podcast. You guys are 50s. I mean, I'm just joking. You guys are young. You guys both. The thing is, the hair on top, not a lick of gray for either.
Yeah,
of them, man.
And I don't dye it or anything. That's my natural brown color. I mean, I don't dye it or nothing. It's
Howard Stern says he doesn't dye it either, but I think he's lying. Are you
Chris,
being serious?
Chris says he's got all 6 seasons of Chips. Oh, I'm jealous. I was just thinking. Actually, I was thinking about that earlier today, wondering if it was even on DVD. So I wasn't sure if it was or not. I got the theme song running through my head right now.
All right, man. Well, great show.
Yeah.
I feel older than Ricky. No, I hang out with Ricky and Norm from the Free Zone. Every week we do a show together separately.
Trisha, you look too young to be older than me.
Me and Ricky text each other throughout the week. Me and Norm. So like the people I talk to, it's crazy your birthdays are that close together though, and he's only a year older than you. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm an April Fool's baby. I'm cursed. If I get one more cake with relatable candles on it, I'm gonna scream.
Rodney, I'm just joking. Look at Ricky's hair. He is not elderly.
Yeah, it's all right here.
Yeah, but I got gray in my beard, and I'm 40. Yeah. I got several grays here, and they're mix and match. But no, Norm's the same way. Gray beard. Brown hair, man.
Uh-oh. Rodney says you're calling someone elderly who was quite a bit younger than me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Nah, dude. 56 is the new 40, man. You guys look great, man. We're gonna do a couple more decades of podcasting, I think, man. We're gonna go for a while.
Now, if just the joints and the bones we quit getting sore, we'd be okay.
Yeah, me too, Chris. So they're my buddies.
Double T just popped up backstage and he changed his name to Robot.
He's a genius. He's a genius. He beat the Robot.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Anywho. Yeah. I guess we should get us out of here, huh?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here with us tonight. We'll see you guys again on Tuesday. My schedule's a little wonky next week, but we'll still do Tuesday, even though I got to work till 5:30. We'll still do it. I'm not going to change it up. With that being said, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to go over these missing persons cases and unsolved homicides. And, you know, as I always pray that they fall in the right ears with the right hearts that'll step up and do the right thing and bring some closure to some families and bring some people home. You know, until we see each other again on Tuesday this coming week, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless and amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and a person the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to disgrace in its arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the